Hey y'all, I am Trish. Thank you so much. I see a couple of you are here. I'm going to give it just another second or so, let the notices go out. But while we're waiting, the chat should be open if you want to go ahead and say hi in the chat. Tonight should be very interesting, and I hope we get a few people in here. It was really fun last night, you know. I'm just going to chit chat for a minute while people are logging on. But it was, I didn't really know what to be talking about. I mean, I have so many ideas for shows. I didn't know if I should just jump right back in or do a show about, what's been going on the past 10 months. But I'm glad we just jumped right in. And so that's what we're going to be doing now. So let me make sure. It looks like I'm going to set this on live chat, make sure I see all the messages. Okay. And so I apologize for video and audio issues. Doing the best I can. It was just really important for me to get back onto doing videos like this. So, hey there, Nikki. Mwah. You see, I'm wearing the bracelet. I wear it every day. And y'all should check out her shop. It's Earth Angel 911 on Etsy. She makes beautiful jewelry, definitely goddess inspired, but she can make masculine stuff too. We love our masculines. And so we're about a minute in. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm trying to see comments. Sometimes it's easier to see stuff here on my laptop. Anyway, okay. So last night we were talking about just whatever last night, and then some person came on and started calling, how are you, sorcerer witch, which I thought was cute. I think they were trying to be all, rude or mean, but they don't understand. I actually know what these words mean. So anyway, so that's some of what we're going to be talking about today. And feel free to go ahead and leave comments in the chat. And I'm going to try and read the chat. It just depends. I've had issues with my laptop and connecting to the internet today. So I'm going to try and read on both. But anyway, okay. So the reason for this video, doing this video about what kind of magic to use when, is because I am seeing more and more people in the light worker, the new age movement, talking about doing different kinds of magic at different times of the month with the moon cycles. And they're saying things I've never heard. Now, just to give you some perspective, I have been a pagan witch my entire life. Before I had a vocabulary for it, before I even knew what the term was for who I was and what I was, much preferring the earth and nature and playing in the backyard, making mud pies, getting my hands dirty, playing with frogs and lizards and snakes and toads and crawdads and all that. And that's for me, right? Squirrels. Love squirrels, raccoons, possums. I love them all. And so that was my foundation. That's just who I was naturally. And then later I, came up and studied and learned about this, about my Irish background, my Irish and Scottish heritage. I don't know if you can tell. I carry the mutant ginger gene. It should be pretty obvious, but anyway. So when I was 17, I kindly got directed to my Irish roots, and I just found a wealth of information of exactly what I was wanting, what I had really been searching for, but didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to find it. It's kind of hard to find what you're looking for when you don't know what it is or what to call it. It just makes the journey a little more difficult, but anyway, it's a rewarding journey nonetheless. And so at 17, I found out, Irish people have this incredible wealth of indigenous culture that you don't hear about, especially when Irish, Scottish people get lumped into white people. like this homogenous mass of white lump of people from Europe. You know, for the record, Ireland never really like invaded anybody or tried to take over anything or anybody except maybe some Scottish cows, you know. So anyway, I hate being lumped into white people. I'm Irish American, thank you very much. Scotch Irish American. Anyway, so as I learned about this, I did try to connect with other people as pagans, as witches. I joined a coven for a little bit because I wanted the information. The coven was an American eclectic coven. And so because their founder was Wiccan, and very much into the whole hierarchy thing and the initiations. First initiate, you're a novice, and then your first initiate, second, third, very much into that. And that kind of hierarchy within a religious framework is exactly what I did not want, because I was raised Catholic, and anything that has to do with dogma, you must do this, you know, in order to be saved, you must do this in order to be one of us, you know, or you're one of them, you know, kind of that mentality was not for me at all. So I joined that coven, and I learned some things. I learned that I didn't want to be in Wicca. And so I left that, and I've been doing my own thing ever since. So that was in the spring. Well, that summer solstice, I had my self-initiation as a witch, and I had some wonderful friends with me. We did this beautiful ritual in my backyard in Long Beach, Mississippi, which is, yes, definitely in the deep South. And so I know people just want to hear that. Yes, we are really everywhere, and we are here to just, you know, protect the earth and help people as we can. And so that was the summer solstice of 1996. So this is now 2019. That's a lot of years that I've been doing this. And so I do my own thing because I'm a solitary, but if I feel good energy from people, I certainly like participating in groups, rituals, at say the high holy days. We're coming up on Samhain, which is the big one for pagan witches. That's October 31st for you Americans. Anyway, so I say all that to say I've been doing this a long time. And one of the things that really annoys me about what I'm hearing from certain people in the Lightworker community is about doing, say, releasing magic on the full moon. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick little story. And this is kind of setting up another video I want to do. So I really don't want to get too much into it this time. But a very well-known person who's very big in the community, and she does wonderful posts, astrology posts. And she made this, somebody made a comment, you know, in her actual post, she mentioned something about doing releasing magic for this full moon. And I made the comment, as I've made this comment before on her post even, you don't do releasing magic on the full moon. And then people came up behind me and they said, thank you for saying this. And then other people said, what? But she said, that's what you do. So clearly that's what you do. And then somebody came back behind and said, well, she said, I understand where you're coming from, but please understand that some people are guided to do certain things in certain ways, and they're listening to how they're being guided. And that just sent bells off for me, because the whole point of doing magic and rituals should be to make your life better, right? To bring into your life the people, places, and things that are good and happy and healthy for you, right? We're not doing anything negative. All right. So it was just kind of surprising to me to hear this, mainly because of a situation I recently encountered, which was dealing with false programs, false I'll just save it for another video, but the false programs. And so the reason why these bells went off in my head was this is doing releasing magic on the full moon is a type of false program, because we as spiritual people have been told for what, thousands of years, you can't be spiritual and rich, right? You can't be spiritual and rich at the same time. They just don't go together. Money and loving source energy, whatever you call source energy. Oh no, you can't have those two. And so what struck me was that if people are being guided either by sources outside of themselves, they're being influenced by people outside of them, like this post on Instagram, or they have false guides that are telling them, do releasing magic on the full moon. It's no wonder so many spiritual people are still poor. It's no wonder, because the full moon is about fullness. It's about fruition. It's about harvest time, the bounty of everything. Why the hell would you start releasing that? That makes no damn sense. And apparently using common sense is not commonplace in the Lightworker community. And I'm going to back up. So think of it like this. The full moon is about fullness and fruition, right? Think of like if you were to sit down, it's Thanksgiving and the table's full of all your Thanksgiving dishes, and everybody sits down and everybody's about to eat this delicious banquet of food that's just amazing and overflowing and full. And then you sit down and say, okay, well, gotta go. You're like, what the hell? You're sitting in front of this cornucopia, this bounty of blessings, and you're going to leave? That is what doing releasing magic on the full moon is like. So I'm going to back it up just a little bit. And I saw Earth Angel there with a little comment. Apparently she's having these conversations with people too. And this is why it's so important for me to try and give accurate information, because let me sidestep just a bit. What I am seeing happening in the Lightworker community right now, which, to be honest, I'm new to the whole Lightworker thing. I am new to using that term. Again, I'm a solitary, right? But what I see is there are a handful of people who are actually being truly guided and inspired and know what they're talking about. And then sometimes they make mistakes in things. And you can see who follows them, because you'll see like the next group of people, like say if this person has 200,000 followers, the next level of people who have 150,000 followers, and then down there, it's like this tier of people following, and they keep making exact same mistakes. Is because they're all listening to a handful of people and then trying to pass it off as their own information, right? So this is why I just want to set some things straight. Okay, so let's back up and be clear so that we're all using the same terminology. You will hear me talking about the true meanings of words based on their etymology. And that's because if you look up the definition of a word, a definition is a little better than a connotation, depending upon who wrote the definition and when that dictionary was written. Okay, so let's talk about magic. Now, the word magic comes from the Greek magikos, M-A-G-I-K-O-S, which is a transliteration of the Greek word, because the Greek, they have a different alphabet, right? So it's a transliteration into our alphabet, M-A-G-I-K-O-S, and it means magical or sorcery. Well, that doesn't really help us, right? So the word magikos in Greek comes from the Sanskrit word mahan, which comes from the Proto-Indo-European root of mag, M-A-G-H, which means to be able, to have power. And it's from that word that we get the words like machine, and might, like physical might, and magi. I'm sure you've heard of the three magi that visited Yeshua when he was born, or you've read the short story, The Gift of the Magi. And then, of course, we get the word magic and magus. I'm sure you've seen Harry Potter, and you've heard Harry Potter talking about the animagus, which is a horrible pronunciation of, of that. Animagus. But a magus, or a magus, as Americans will pronounce it, that's literally a magician, right? So then what does that mean? Well, I consider, because of all of that, I consider magic to be the art and science of personal power. This is not about trying to control the world and control people and control the market and the economy and, grab up all the wealth for yourself. That's not what it is. Now, some people will try to do that. But that's certainly not what true magic is, and it's not what magic is for me. So the art and science of personal power, it really is about knowing yourself. What do you want? What is good for you? What is healthy for you? And then either through just intention or meditation or prayers or actual rituals and spells, you can increase your personal power by doing intentions and prayers and rituals that allow you to learn and grow as a person and to really make yourself happy and successful. See, there's nothing evil or ill-intentioned in that at all. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about magic. If we want to talk about that now, or if you just want to type into the chat. If not, I'm going to go on. So then the magic that we do for rituals is basically going to be what your intention is for bringing in and increasing your own personal power. So here's where we need to talk about the basics of the universe, is that everyone has freedom of choice and freedom of will. You cannot usurp the autonomy and free will of another human being. You can't do that. So doing a love spell doesn't really work. You're not actually going to bring a certain person to you. A true love spell is going to be about clearing away what's keeping you from being love, right? You want to be the change you wish to see in the world. Well, if you want love, if you want to be in a loving relationship, you have to be love first. So then, rather than trying to do a spell of, a chicken foot and a whatever, to get their hair and their urine or whatever, you don't need to do all that. You need to work on yourself, and then you can do a spell or a ritual to bring in the love that you are ready for, and then that's the person you're going to receive. But you have to be open and ready to receive true love. And true love, of course, is unconditional. So if your spell or your ritual, say, is about, well, I want him to be 6'3" and, dark hair and gray eyes, well, be careful what you wish for. And there's no telling whom you will draw to you. Okay. So let's talk about the different phases of the moon cycle, because the moon cycles go from new moon or dark moon, and dark only means it's dark outside. Without the light of the moon, it's just dark. If you ever have the occasion to go out to the woods or even out to the beach when it's a new moon, to get away from the lights of the city and street and highways and all buildings and all that, during a dark moon, it is dark outside. And during a full moon, it seems like it's bright as day. When you're away from all the lights and it's a full moon, you can see people's expressions. And I mean, it's just really amazing how bright the full moon it actually is. So we have the new moon or the dark moon, and then you have the waxing moon. And that's when the moon is getting bigger. The word waxing means to increase or to make larger. It comes from a Proto-Indo-European root weg, W-E-G, which means to increase. Interestingly, weg is also the proposed root for the word witch. And the idea is that a witch is a person who can help you increase various things, help make you stronger, or he is a person who is strong in the various knowledge of spells and incantations, but also healing. Remember, witches are healing people. And so there's waxing, and then there's the full moon, and then there's waning, which means to get smaller. Okay. So, and then the cycle goes over again. So waxing is when you want to do magic of bringing things to you, right? Because you want to increase your the money in your checking account. You want to increase the connections that are great for your job, your career. You want to increase your opportunities for, say, if like you're a Broadway person, you know, and you want more auditions, you want to be seen more, you want the opportunity for singing and dancing, et cetera, et cetera. So waxing is when you do increasing magic, bringing things to you. The waning moon is when you do releasing magic, because to wane means to let go, to lessen, to make smaller. The waning comes from the Proto-Indo-European root of weno, W-E-N-O, which comes from the Proto-Indo-European root eu, E-U-E, from which means to make smaller, to diminish. And we get the words void, avoid, vacate, evacuate, abandon, vanish from that. So if that can help you remember waning, because at first it was really hard for me to remember waxing and waning. And so I just, waxing to make bigger. It has nothing to do with wax, like beeswax or waxing your legs or your bikini line. It has nothing to do with that. That's a different root word altogether. So waxing is going to be increasing magic. Waning is going to be releasing or diminishing magic. And then, so where does that leave us? If you want to do drawing magic on the waxing moon and you want to do releasing magic on the waning moon, well, then what the heck do you do on the new moon and the full moon? Well, the new moon, you can do rest. You can do a spell or ritual of just gratitude because you've completed a cycle, right? And it's just a time of rest and relaxing and regrouping. Or you can do planting seeds kind of magic, where it is a time of new beginnings, but really enjoy that space. You've completed a cycle. Enjoy that time and space and just breathe. You can plant seeds on the waxing cycle, right? And so then the full moon. Well, if you're increasing on the waxing and you're letting go or decreasing, releasing on the waning moon, what do you do on the full moon when it's at its fullest, right? It's about fruition and bounty. What do? Well, I suggest you do a ritual or spell that's just a thank you. It's okay to be in gratitude for what you have. You don't have to always be asking for something, right? Again, it's like, just say thank you, because the full moon is almost like a time of rest, because you've got what you want, right? You're in fruition, right? It's the difference between manifestation and fruition. Those are different things. Manifestation is different from creation and manifestation. And I hear of so many people using creation and manifestation interchangeably, and they're not, they're different. But if you think of, I'm doing a class on numbers soon, and I'll talk more about this then, but if you think of manifestation as the number 3, right? It's not, 3 is not the number of creation, it's the number of manifestation. 1 is creation, 3 is manifestation. 9 is the number for fruition. 9 is a perfect multiple of 3, manifestation, multiplied by itself. Manifestation times manifestation equals fruition, right? And it's okay just to take a breath and appreciate what you have, to be in gratitude, rather than gimme, 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 more, 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 gimme, 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 right? So for the full moon magic, you can be grateful for what you have. You can be grateful for the lessons you've learned. Let's say maybe you aren't making the money that you really wished you were making. You're like, well, damn it, I want to make more money. Like Sally, do you want to make more money? Remember those commercials? Well, don't we all? So with full moon magic, be in gratitude, be grateful for what you have, even if this is what's so weird about gratitude. People never seem to know what they can be grateful for. And I'm like, well, are you alive? Yeah, this life is pretty damn tough. I'm a twin flame. It does not get tougher than this. Trust me. All right. It does not get tougher than being a twin flame. And I am still grateful for waking up every day. Did you sleep in a bed, or did you sleep on the floor? Did you have a roof over your head? Did you have food to eat? Do you have a car to drive? And if you don't have a car to drive, do you have money for the bus? Believe me, honey, I have been through it all. I have been homeless in Los Angeles. I lived out of my car. I've been homeless in Tempe, Arizona, literally on the street with my luggage. I love my car. It was an old car, but it still got 30 miles to the gallon, and it was stolen in San Francisco. So then I had no car, and I was forced to use public transportation. And there were days when I couldn't even use public transportation because I didn't have the $1.75 to get on a bus. So it's really easy for me to be really grateful really quickly. I can be grateful for the smallest amount of things. The sky was so beautiful today. I am so grateful that the sky was beautiful today. It rained yesterday. I am grateful for the rain, because that means the rainstorms, they produce negative ions, which clear away all the icky energy. And then the rain for the trees and the grass and the flowers and all the bushes, and the trees, of course, give us oxygen. It's really easy to be grateful for the smallest of things. And so if your full moon ritual is nothing but you just being aware of all the things you can be grateful for, that is powerful magic. That is a powerful time and place and space for you to work on your own art and science of personal power, right? Because we're not megalomaniacs. We're not looking to take over the world. My dream house is a cottage in the woods, far away from people. I am not looking to take over anybody. I want y'all to leave me alone. People out there, not y'all, you're my friends. I love you. I love everybody. But, I like in the old days, New York is where I wanted to be. Not anymore. Not anymore. No, y'all can have it. I will visit. And then I will leave. That's not for me. But anyway, so I hope you're understanding my perspective on magic, full moon magic especially, what you can do on waxing and waning. And if you have any questions, go ahead and look in, as mentioned something in the chat. The chat's a little, I haven't seen anything. Maybe y'all have been talking. I haven't just seen it. But with the waxing and the waning, there's actually there's a split in the phase of the waxing and the waning, and it's called either crescent or gibbous. And a lot of people don't understand that. Crescent means the moon is still in a crescent shape. We know what crescents look like, but the word gibbous, Gibbous, comes from the Latin gibbus, Gibbus, and it means literally hunch, as in a hunchback person. The word gibbous means convex or bulging, and so it was used to refer to a person who was a hunchback. And so the moon actually starts out as a sliver, a crescent sliver, and then it goes and it looks about half, like it looks like half a pie, right? And then it starts to get a little bit bigger. That's going to be gibbous, right? And so then it goes full, and then you have the waxing gibbous, and then the crescent, and then new moon, dark moon. So just to review, in my opinion, and the way I perceive magic, it is the art and science of personal power. You cannot change the fundamental will of another person. And if you try, there are 3 laws of the universe that will probably kick your butt. And I can do a video on these laws if you want me to, just leave a comment. And that is the law of attraction, which is real and works, the law of karma, and the law of cause and effect. These 3 laws work together. And one of the main reasons why people don't get the money that they want or don't get the love that they want when they use law of attraction is because they're not also aware of the laws of karma and cause and effect. So when doing your magic, you should be aware of what the energy you're sending out is going to come back to you. So you want that energy to be in love and compassion and joy and happiness and only good stuff. If you're doing any kind of magic that is to purposely hurt someone, that will come back on you. It just will. Now, I know that there are people who call themselves witches or pagans or other, terms, and they do hexes and curses and that kind of thing. I don't speak for them, certainly. I only speak for myself. I know what these words actually mean because I bothered to look them up. It is who I am. And too many people are getting their information from TV shows. You'll notice that like from the 90s onward, it was the movie The Craft, I think, that did it. But the television and movies that have really taken witchcraft to this ridiculous place of absurdity. And it's nothing like, Google, put it into the Google machine. But even better than that is, look up on an etymology site, where you can look up the actual history and historical use of the word and its actual origins. Because again, if you look up the definition, that definition was written by a person who was biased on their time and place. Because I'm sure if you look up the word wife, in a dictionary written 200 years ago, you're just going to look up, the definition is going to be something along the lines of a man's property who cooks and cleans and births lots of children, hopefully strong, healthy sons, right? That's not what we would call a wife today, right? But it's why I don't like the word wife. But anyway, so the Google machine will be your friend, but look it up, the actual root of the words. But anyway, so new moon, dark moon, you can do beginning magic, but you might want to do magic that intentions, meditation, prayers that are about rest, completing one cycle, and just trying to get yourself into a space mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychically, where you are then getting ready for the next phase. We don't always have to be doing something, Again, magic it's not just about gimme, gimme, gimme. It's your personal power. And sometimes you need to conserve your power, right? You are a battery. You are a human battery. You are a conductor of electricity, right? And sometimes you just need to sit back and, restore, build up the energy. And so you could do that on the new moon. And then on the waxing moon, you can do your planting the seeds. I think of it like, because the way you actually plant seeds is most people, and this is the way I was taught, you don't actually put seeds in the ground, unless you're really sure your frost is over. If you have say a long winter season. I'm from Mississippi. We don't have that. But growing up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, we can plant seeds in the ground early. But when we lived in Jackson and Oxford, Mississippi, especially Oxford, where they actually get snow, you have to start your seeds in little, we used to do them in the paper eggshell cartons. I don't even know if you can get eggs like that anymore, but you start your little seeds in there, and they grow. After a few weeks, they become seedlings, and then you put the seedlings in the ground. So if you're familiar with tarot, a new moon would be, say the Ace of Pentacles or the Ace of Shields. That's when you're actually putting the seed in dirt, like as to start it as a seedling. And then Three of Shields, that's when you put the seedling in the ground, right? Because you've already created the little seedling. The creation is at 1, the manifestation is at 3. So that's when you put in the seedling, which now has its root. It has its tap root, which will dig in and connect with the earth to get the nutrients from the earth. And then once it's planted at the Three of Shields or the Three of Pentacles, then it grows. And then at 9 of Pentacles, that's when you have your abundance, right? By the way, the 9 of Pentacles has nothing to do with being single. I don't even know where that came from. It's probably a Rider-Waite thing. And I'm going to be doing a video on tarot because I can't stand the Rider-Waite deck. And Arthur Waite, he ruined the tarot, in my opinion, whatever. But 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Shields is all about fruition of abundance. You have set yourself up for this wonderful life of stable abundance. Or 9 of Cups is, wishes fulfilled, right? 9 of Air, 9 of Spears or Wands, that's about self-awareness. It's this fruition of all these ideas and insights and clarity that have come to you, and it's this fruition, So 9 is not the end of cycles. 9 is not the end of things. 9 is about fruition. And if you even look at the number 9, which I'll do in another video about numbers, but if you look at the number 9, it is round at the top, isn't it? And then it's got the little stem, whether you do like around and then straight down or, around and down like that. I'm sure that's backwards to y'all. But the 9 is round. It's full, right? And it starts at the bottom in this straight line that goes up to fullness, right? And fruition. And so this is about you talking about tarot or the numbers, but this is about you here coming to fruition, this fullness from a spiritual perspective, right? So thinking of the number 9, fullness, fruition, because what I'm hearing in my head is when people talk about the number 9 being the end of cycles, and it's not. It's not. It's about fruition. 9 is actually be still, appreciate, right? It's like Thanksgiving dinner is laid out on the table and everybody sits down. You're like, okay, gotta go, bye. Like, what? So full moon magic is about this fullness. It's about this fruition, and you can just be appreciative, be grateful. And similarly, new moon can be about, whoo, man, I'm glad that cycle's over. And I'm just going to appreciate what I learned, appreciate, whatever happened. It must be a lesson that's going to teach me great, wonderful things about myself and my own journey in this lifetime. Maybe it's teaching me about things from past lifetimes, alternate lifetimes, parallel realities, et cetera, whatever you happen to believe in that perspective. But magic is about you learning about yourself, in my opinion. And I know I've never really heard anybody say that, but that's just my perspective on it. People who are all into the whole, fancy wand, like the, I don't know, just all the fancy stuff. It's just not for me. If it works for them, great. But I think that there are a lot of people in our society who are attracted to witchcraft or alchemy or sorcery or whatever you want to call it because of TV and movies. And then their rituals are them just trying to act out scenes from movies that they've seen, and they're not really grounded in anything. And then you have people like, say, Aleister Crowley, depending on where you're from, who had some good ideas and some really not good ideas. So the whole, I don't want to say witch, but the modern magician and alchemy movements, especially since the 1960s, have had some very interesting figures who have been very influential, and not all of the information is correct. And this is especially true for Alexander and Gardner, who are both considered the founders of modern Wicca. They basically created it. But the problem is that they were both in the Order of the Golden Dawn, and they had vows of secrecy to the Golden Dawn. And in order for them to make Wicca available and accessible to the mass public, they actually had to change things. So this is one of the things that really annoys me about the Arthur E. Waite and what he did with the Tarot, because Arthur Waite was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, as well as being a Freemason. So he had vows of secrecy in 2 secret societies. And so there are things that he said and did with the Tarot that were wrong on purpose, because they couldn't allow that information to be put out to the mass public, right? So this is one of the great reasons of why it helps to have a mentor in this. It helps to follow your own path and really look inside and see what rings true to you. Don't just do something just because somebody else said this is what you do. I mean, that never worked for me. And the reason why I felt called to speak about it is because in this light worker community, I see a lot of people coming from a lot of different backgrounds, which is awesome. We need diversity in the light worker community, because we need people from all backgrounds, because we want change across all levels, right? But I see people who just don't know what they're talking about now, talking about how to do magic and how to do rituals and what it means to do on this, that, and the other. And then see people who come from a Christian background, bringing in lots of Jesus to the light worker community, and everything's about Christ consciousness. And if you actually knew what the word Christ means, you wouldn't want that. The word Christ, this is another video I'll be doing, but the word Christ actually comes from a word that means dirt. So Christ consciousness technically is dirt consciousness. It's a misuse of the word, and it's not even the word you want to use. You want to use the word Christed or Christed, just whatever works for you, but it's Kryst from Christos, which means crystalline, because it comes from a Proto-Indo-European root word that means like frozen, as in an icicle. Because crystals they look like icicles, right? If you've ever seen a beautiful ice crystal in the snow, except these are ice crystals from the ground, right? From the earth. So Christ consciousness is dirt consciousness. Christos consciousness is the actual consciousness you want. But again, people can't be bothered to look up words in the Google machine. And then we talk about Christ consciousness, this, that, and the other. And I think it's more of the false programming. And so I will be doing videos on false programs, false guides. I will also be doing a video on numbers, what the numbers actually mean, how to use them. I will probably do a video on Tarot sometime, but I'm actually wanting to do an entire series on Tarot that I might do and sell on Vimeo. And then I will be doing a video here about the difference between Christ and Christos. They are not the same thing, but Jesus Christ is a character created by the early church, and it has nothing to do with Yeshua, the physical incarnation of that soul who was an ascended master. And anyway, I won't go any further. Anyway, So I'll save it for that video. But so if you see somebody who's writing Christos or Christed consciousness, but spelling it Krysted, that is correct. That's the consciousness we want. That is the crystalline consciousness, where we're all going as light workers, right? Our crystalline DNA, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, well, I don't see any questions coming over the chat. So I am going to go ahead and end this here. I don't know that this was helpful. I don't know if you have questions. You of course can leave questions and comments after the video. I am so grateful for all of you who watch my videos. I'm not here to get tons and tons of followers. I'm here to share and to teach people who want accurate information. You know, what I'm seeing in the Lightworker community is, I don't want to say we need some policing of things, but discernment. That is the name of the game. If you're new to the Lightworker journey, just discernment. And so for my own experience with magic and rituals, and you know, I'm the kind of person, I can do magic whenever I want and it works because that's who I am. As one energy person told me, she said, "You have magic in your veins." I said, yeah, I know. You know, and some of us do, and we don't have to go by those rules of what to do when. We want to do something, we just do it, you know. You want to make you a hoodoo jar, you go right ahead. Oh, by the way, Nikki, Earth Angel 911, she makes little hoodoo jars too. Little, you can wear them around your neck. They're so cute. Anyway, she did not ask me to say that. I'm just telling y'all that because her stuff's wonderful. Anyway, so I hope you found this information useful. I know I threw out a lot of information at you. You can watch this as many times as you need, take notes, and put some words into your Google machine, and leave comments after the video here, and I will be happy to answer as best I can. Whew. All right. Now, if you want to tell me what kind of videos, what topics you want to talk about, you can leave a comment about that as well. I know what I want to talk about, but I'm certainly interested in hearing from you and what you would like to learn or discuss as well. All right. I will see y'all later. I love you. Mwah. And remember, only love is real. All right. I see y'all later. Bye.